It's the RotoHackers. We got some stuff to talk about, but let's hit the intro. My name is Judah Buddha. I'm here with A.J. Herschel, the kid, and it's Jared. And didn't hit all the. Anyway, so how are you guys doing? Are you looking forward to this weekend of football? I'm trying to get jazzed about it.
I'm nervous. I got a lot of tight fantasy games that I really need to win, either to get into the playoffs or to keep a bye. So I'm a little nervous about this week, I'm going to be honest, because I'm not projected to win most of my games.
Jared?
I'm glad we're at this point. This week 13 to me always feels like the home stretch because you're down to two games in the regular season. I mean, if it's a regular league, 2 games in the regular season and then 2 games of playoffs, and with 2 games left, basically exactly what you need in order to make the playoffs if you haven't already clinched or haven't already been eliminated. And so, there's leagues where it's just like, I got to win my last 2 games. There's leagues where I just need to win one. And then there's leagues where it's like some crazy combination of, still unlikely, but it could happen, like I need 2 wins. I need to go 2-0. This team needs to go 0-2. This team needs to go 1-1. But I've had those happen before. So, so it's kind of fun. I'm just worn out from the season, ready to get the regular season over with and see what, how many teams get into the playoffs. So,
I feel like I'm hanging on, but I'm not really the excitement level. I usually at this point of the year, I'm much more excited.
Yeah.
I'm much more pumped. Even for the teams. You know what I noticed is that I did better in the teams where I knew people. I just all my even the ones, so like the listener league, I'm not doing great there, but I feel like I'm active in it. Some of these other ones, even though I paid money for them, I forget about them. I don't have the kind of connection. I don't come at it like you have much more of a objective, like you look at it sort of like a job or something. And I just
it's supplemental income. Yeah.
I have to take more of that approach. I don't know, if I'm not playing people I know, it's harder for me to really focus.
Yeah. It's almost the opposite for me. I mean, although like in the listeners league, that's one of my best teams. But I think, some of that was just from making a few of the right draft moves and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I'm normally more excited about it. It's like we said, it's more of a mess this year. And so there's a lot of teams where, I'm 5-7 now. I mean, more often than not, I mean, like more than half my teams are like projected to make the playoffs, but then there's a bunch that are like 5-7 too, that could make it because, the 4th place team is 6-6 or something, and I could still get in. But it just all feels like it feels like a NASCAR pileup or something, It just feels like, I don't know, just a bunch of these cars are together in a little pack, and I don't know, it's whoever doesn't get clipped and end up in the little pileup, you're gonna sneak out. But it's frustrating too, because I always go back, like I know, like the way most of my teams do is like, if I have a game that I lose, by less than a point or something, I know that a lot of times that may make the difference between me making the playoffs or not, because, you think about all the logjam of teams and stuff, and you may end up 7-7 or 8-6 and miss out because of one of those games. And so I've gone back and looked at some of those leagues where I've lost by less than a point, and I was like, oh, if it had swung, a point in the other direction, it would be a completely different landscape right now. I would probably be, if not likely to make the playoffs, at least 50-50 shot. Whereas it's, I need help to get in.
Yeah, that's so frustrating. Well, I just got a message from AJ saying, or we got a message, his internet is being crazy. He'll be right back, so we'll hear from him in a minute. In the meantime, Thomas H is in the chat already, and he says, I'm so desperate for a running back. I'm starting Moss and Singletary, hoping they combine to give me one good stat line. Interesting. Oh, and he's got more questions from his son. First question from my son, start Fant or Evan Ingram? Second question, well, so what do you think, Fant or Evan Ingram there? Evan Ingram had a good game last week.
Yeah.
A decent game. I would say a decent game.
I don't know. He's going to be working with Cody. What's his name?
Yeah, I forget his name.
I'm blanking out on his last name. I should know it by now. Daniel Jones is, probably out, so he's going to be working with Cody. What's his name? So I don't know. I don't know. He did have a good game. I don't know what percentage of that maybe came with Cody in there. Got to look up this name while I'm.
Is it Cody? I don't even think it's. Is it Cody?
Colt McCoy.
Colt McCoy.
Yeah. Colt, not
one of those little boys' names.
I was thinking of there's a Cody Kessler too, and I think I always end up blending.
Well, and Cody Latimer's on their team too, so that was kind of a
right. So, man, Fant has not done much of anything lately. So it's hard to, going back to the first game against Kansas City, he had 3 catches for 38 yards. He's not touched 8.5 points since week 2. I think you got to just probably roll with Ingram and hope that Colt is just, desperate to hit that safety valve.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Go with. Well, now what is the situation? Is Locke back for the Broncos?
I believe so. Yeah, he doesn't have a designation, so he'll be back. But it really hasn't mattered. It's not like Fant was really doing anything, prior to that with him in there. I mean, it's possible, because that other tight end got hurt in the Falcons game. But, then they had a couple of games after that with Locke where, Fant still just didn't do anything. So my pick would be Ingram and hope that Colt is just, locked in on him as the safety valve there.
Yeah. AJ, you're back. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd probably go Evan Ingram. The Broncos are just such a mess. But don't say that. The Broncos are just such a mess right now. I'll go Evan Ingram for the sake of more volume.
Yeah. Yeah, Broncos, man, are. He had a second question. So, yeah, I think Evan Ingram is the consensus there. I think that's a good choice. Second question. Pick 2. James Robinson, Mostert, Montgomery, or Drake? I feel like James Robinson's top 5 at this point. Montgomery or Drake is the question for me. I don't trust Mostert. But do they have a good matchup?
No trust in Mostert. No, yeah, they've got Buffalo. So Buffalo's given up 10th most points to running backs, and Mostert, last week They were up against the Rams, so that's a tough matchup. 16 carries, only had 43 yards, but he did have a touchdown. So I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one for me too. I think you're right with Robinson. He's almost automatic at this point. Drake has done well lately, but I don't like the matchup against the Rams. So yeah, it would be for me between Montgomery, who had a great game last week, or Mostert.
Yeah, I think that's where I'd go too. What do you think, AJ?
I might go Montgomery after seeing him put up 22 on the Packers, and I was like, okay, so I mean, we still can't play offense, but we can still run the football on this team. And they're going up against Detroit, who's probably the worst running defense in football right now. So I would go Montgomery, especially after coming off the last game.
Yeah, I think I'll go with you on that.
Yep. Okay, so then we also have Clutchville. Thanks for being watching the video and being in the chat. Clutchville's asking, rate my running back group 1 to 10. Dalvin Cook, James Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Raheem Mostert, and Miles Gaskin. I I'm worried about Cook finishing out the year strong, but I love James Robinson, and I feel like Antonio Gibson's going to be he could very well be a league winner for people. I haven't looked at his schedule, but he's one of those rookies that is going to come. I feel like all of our hopes and dreams about the rookie running backs are going to start to, activate. Right. Sort of at this point.
I may have to start some J.K. Dobbins this week.
I'm starting all the JKs. Yes.
How many do we have?
Huh?
How many JKs do we have? Or you're just starting a lot of that one?
Oh, all my JK. Yeah, I have a lot of JK Dobbins shares.
Gotcha.
And,
okay.
I'm so in the league where I was on the path to be number one and just derailed last week with 47 points from my group of dudes there. I mean, most of the people I have I have a lot of players on the Ravens, and so a lot of them were on the COVID list last week.
Yeah.
Do you think that? Let's get back to this. Rate it 1 to 10. I think I'm not a huge fan of Mostert, Miles Gaskin. They're not. I'm not a fan of theirs, but those other three, I'd give it a 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I would probably give it. Let me look here. I'm just looking to see the season standings here while we're going over this question here. I mean, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10. I mean, to have a stud running back this year is crucial, and you really have two with Cook and Robinson. Antonio Gibson is, I think, just only going to come on more, and he's got awesome playoff matchups. Mostert, I like Mostert, and Mostert gets the Cowboys in week 15. Okay. I think the only issue for you is going to be, like, as good as Cook and Robinson are, they have terrible playoff matchups, especially in week 15. Like, Cook has Chicago again. Chicago has been tough against the run. They limited that he did end up with 13 points. Okay. So, you're probably still going to have to start him regardless. And then Robinson has the Ravens and Chicago. So, and then let's see, Cook's other one, I think, is New Orleans, which is tough against the run. Yeah, so they have tough playoff matchups. In terms of talent, like, I'd give you nearly, as close to a 10 as I could. I think what's going to be tough is then, when you get in there and you've got, say, assume you probably have two running back spots and a flex, then, is it Cook and Gibson and Mostert when Mostert's got that nice Cowboys matchup, or do you bench Robinson against a tough Ravens matchup? So if they had great playoff matchups, I'd say 10 out of 10, but I'd have to ding them a little bit for the matchups, because I think you're going to run into some dilemmas there in the playoffs.
Well, and AJ said he had to restart his computer to be right back. But he gives it an 8.5 out of 10. I would say the other thing is Cook. I mean, we saw this week he has trouble staying healthy. He starts to wear down towards the end of the year. Every year, he's kind of he's like a rich man's version of Gordon in that way. Melvin Gordon is. Can you trust him for the playoffs? Now, the good thing about Dalvin Cook is I feel like you can kind of slot. How do you feel about this? You feel like you can slot in. What's his name? Madison.
Yeah, if you've got him, I don't know. He's not out there in a lot of my leagues. One league where I have him, or one league where I have Cook, a guy drafted Madison, and I thought he'd drop him at some point. Has never dropped him at any point.
Wow.
Gone through the whole season with Madison, despite not having Cook. So, I think there is, a pretty good, there's not a huge drop there, but it might be more of a drop with the matchups that they have, like in a regular matchup. I think, Madison's a little bit safer, but in a tough matchup, there might be some more of a drop there.
I agree. We also have a question from Following the Waves. What's up, Following the Waves? That's an interesting name there. Surfer, maybe? He says, Boyd, Corey Davis, Lockett, Cooper, Ayuk. Which three should I start? Full PPR. And also Aaron Jones, Antonio Gibson, or Latavius Murray start two. Okay, so he's got a two-part question here. First of all, the wide receivers. Boyd, Davis, Lockett, Cooper, and Ayuk. I love Ayuk this week. And Cooper's got a tough matchup. Lockett is hit or miss. I kind of like Corey Davis and Ayuk. Oh, he says, how many do you start there? 3. So I would go Boyd, Corey Davis, and Ayuk. Maybe go Lockett if you're feeling lucky. This may be, he didn't do well last week. Maybe this is his week to go off. So it sort of seems like an every other week thing. Right. What do you think about the wide receivers there?
I like Corey Davis. I like Ayuk. This is his first. Let me just checking to see. He is scheduled to be back. He's gotten huge volume over, especially the past 2 games that he's played. Double-digit targets, a touchdown, 75 plus yards. In 3 straight games, he's had 75 plus yards. 91 and 115 in another. Lockett is hit or miss. Boyd just has not done anything since Burrow went down. So I would actually stay away from him. Cooper, Cooper's still been getting pretty good volume, but it is such a tough matchup.
Playing the Birds, man. Playing Ravens is going to be tough. But although I think they lost didn't they lost Peterson or something? Got injured last week?
They may have lost a cornerback. Yeah, I'm not sure. Still, and the Steelers threw pretty well on them. But the Steelers also had the ball a lot to throw on them because they couldn't keep their offense on the field.
Offense. Yeah, the Ravens offense was just abysmal.
Yeah.
It continues to be abysmal. It doesn't matter really if it's Lamar. And I just saw Jonathan Buster, the RotoHackers enemy. or what do we call him? The antagonist.
Nemesis. Antagonist. Yeah, antagonist might be best.
Antagonist, because he's part of the listener group. He's just sent me a little blurb. I think it's from RotoHackers or something saying that Lamar may be activated. According to Pelissero of the NFL Network, Jackson is eligible to be activated from the reserve COVID. Now, that depends on how he's fared. Like, if he had COVID, he may be just beat. He may be one of the biggest symptoms of COVID is fatigue. So I don't. It's tough to say. And he wasn't great before the. So I don't. It's a great matchup against Cowboys, but anyways, we digress. I digress. So you would go with Davis, Lockett, and Ayuk, or would you go with Cooper?
Yeah, I think I would go Lockett for the potential of. Let me see what Cooper's done last. I mean, he's had better matchups lately. I mean, last week, actually, I don't know. I mean, even against Washington, he put up 112 and a touchdown. Yeah, I'll say Davis, Cooper, and Ayuk. I mean, it would be tough for me to bench, Lockett, because I mean, he's just. I mean, if he goes off, he can just. We've seen he can get you 45.5 points, but it's tough to bank on that. I mean, if your opponent is projected to beat you by a ton, then I would say maybe you throw Lockett in there over Corey Davis because the upside is so much higher. Kind of depends on your situation there. And then start 2 for the running backs. I would have to go. Gibson. That's a tough matchup against the Steelers. Gibson's now been in double digits 5 straight games. And 3 of the last 3 games, he's basically been at 17 points or more. That's a tough matchup.
Dobbins had a big game against them.
Yeah.
I mean, not a big game, but he was productive against them. Not this last game. He didn't play. Who played? Who was it? It was the whole offense, as we said, wasn't great against them.
Yeah, I would probably still go with Aaron Jones and Antonio Gibson. The Saints have been giving Latavius Murray more because Alvin Kamara's had sort of a little foot issue. They've been resting him a little bit more. But the first game against the Falcons, Murray had 12 carries for 49 yards. He was in single digits, so I think you got to go with the other 2.
Good to have you back, AJ Herschel, the kid. Are you able to? Did you hear anything about what we've been talking about? What are your thoughts on this question we have from following the waves? Would you? Who'd you start 3?
I think there I'd go Davis, Cooper, Ayuk, maybe. Boyd I don't like in Cincinnati because they have no passing offense, and Lockett is very, very boomer bust with Russell Wilson now, and we've talked Russell tapers off in the year. So I'd probably go with those 3, and then running back, Jones and Gibson. They're starting running backs are not really. I mean, Jones is starting to split with Williams, but I'd rather take the dominant running back in the Packers offense over the secondary running back in the Saints offense.
Agreed. I think that's a round of agreement there. The only thing I would say is I'm a little worried about Aaron Jones. They've got a great matchup. They're projected to be the winners, big time winners there. However, it just seems like when Adams is there, Jones, for some reason, he gets sort of a back seat, which doesn't make sense to me. But I might be starting Jamal Williams everywhere. I have him. I think I'm trying to decide whether or not, because it's such a good matchup. If he even gets 40% of the snaps, it'd be he might be a nice little piece to play there. But I don't know. What do you guys think with the whole Williams and Jones split?
Yeah, I mean, in leagues where I'm running back desperate, I have thought about starting Jamal Williams. One guy that I've picked up a lot of, and I'm waiting to see like what happens with it, is the Dolphins are basically all of their running backs are either hurt or Matt Breida went on the COVID list, and so it's down to like they're like Myles Gaskin has been practicing this week. They're going to decide today if they're going to activate him and play him. I think he has to be activated actually, maybe, but they've got to decide if they're going to play him. Otherwise, it's Patrick Laird.
Yikes!
Wow.
But they've got Cincinnati.
No, they've got Washington. I think Washington is set to play.
Not unless he was doubtful, unless they changed it.
I think it was changed. Last thing I saw, it was going to be between the people that were on the field for practice were Washington and Gaskins.
I think I saw the tweet you're talking about. I don't know. I mean, he's still listed as doubtful. I saw that he was there, but at practice. But everything I've seen is that he's still doubtful. So I don't know.
So this is what I see. Brian Flores indicates that the QB, Tua or Fitz, may be a game time decision. DeAndre Hopkins, Salvador Ahmed, both, you're right, doubtful for Sunday versus the Bengals. Matt Breida has an illness that forced him to miss the practice. There will be a decision this weekend on whether to activate Myles Gaskin. So, yeah, that's a crazy situation there.
Yeah, so Laird would be if Gaskin still can't go, or they don't feel, or maybe it's a situation where he's, activated and he's an emergency backup or something. But Laird could get all the carries, against.
Do you have Laird?
I picked him up in every league where I needed a running back. So I'm really hoping that they decide to let Myles Gaskin sit, because there's leagues where Jacobs is out or something, and I didn't get Devonta Booker, and I'm just desperate.
Interesting. I'm seeing that most people think that Gaskin's going to play. But, yeah, if he doesn't, it'd be interesting. What do you think, AJ? I feel like you're not lagging anymore. You're here. You're with us.
All
this
right.
is good.
Good. I like Gaskin. I hope he starts because I need him to, but I worry just about Miami's offense in general and how they're going to look.
Who are they playing?
They're playing Cincinnati this week, so they got a decent matchup for him to come back. But I'm just typically always wary of people coming off of an injury. That's just me in general. First week of injury, I'm just typically a little bit concerned, but
now
hopefully he'll be
every
able to
person, every running back that has come back from injury this season has gone off their first week back.
True, very true. Yep.
Somebody was saying that about what's his name for the Chargers,
Austin Eckler.
Yeah,
Eckler. They were saying play Eckler, and I did, and they were right. He went off.
Yep.
So that's just something to think about. But I interrupted you. What are your thoughts?
I think he should do fine with Miami. He's got a great rest of season schedule, fortunately, with the worst of it being Kansas City. But they aren't overly difficult defenses for the most part. They're winnable. There may not be winnable they're winnable matchups for Miami and scorable points for Gaskin. And I mean, this is still the guy who basically every week would get you 60 yards and a touchdown just consistently. Like, he would perpetually get you that. And these are all games coming up that he could still get those kind of points. So I think he'll be fine.
Who?
Gaskins? Yeah.
Okay, Gaskin. Okay. I see. All right, we got a question here. Tom Dunn says, who you got, Booker, Murray, or Gurley? Is Gurley even going to play? I don't think he is, actually, but I'm not sure. And I guess Booker is going to get with they have ruled they have ruled what's his name, Josh Jacobs out.
Mhm.
So I definitely go Booker. And great matchup. Murray or Gurley? I'm not. Have you guys heard anything about Gurley? Whether or not he's going to play? I thought.
Well,
I was
I don't
under the
know.
impression that he's not.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but I don't know if he needs more than one here either.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's a Booker, right?
Easy for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think Booker's going to do well? Now, I mean, I know he's going to get a lot of carries. He's got a good matchup, but is he any good?
I mean, he's had a couple of pretty good games, even with Jacobs, you know. I mean, he had back in weeks 9 and 10 when he was getting some more carries. He had the Chargers and Denver back to back in those 2 weeks. He had 8 for 68 and a touchdown in week 9, and he actually ended up with 16 for 81 and 2 touchdowns, which really kind of flew under the radar against Denver in week 10.
Yep.
That might be the league winner. I saw you picked him up in a lot of places, Jared, right? You have him going.
Who, Booker?
Yeah.
Yeah. I picked him up some. I really needed to have gotten him in more, but it's just, I don't know. I've got all sorts of Band-Aids in different leagues. Like, you know, who's my Band-Aid? Who are my Band? Like, it's basically like boxes of Band-Aids at this point, you know, because it's like nobody that you know for sure, you know, are they going to have a job next week? Or how many carries are they going to get? You know, so it's like Devonta Booker, it's Wayne Gallman, it's J.K. Dobbins, you know, Gio. Well, I'm not even really starting Gio anymore. He's done so poorly, but yeah, it's just lots of Band-Aids.
My brother used to say he hated the phrase. Oh, what is it? Something about like a hole, a bucket with a hole. You put in another bucket with a hole. You just keep, you know, you can stop the leak. He used to say, no, it's just a big wet mess. So, let's see. We got another question here. Did you get a chance? I think we're all kind of agreement, right, Booker? Okay, and then Sam, Joshi, Kenyon Drake, or Mostert full PPR. That's a tough one. We already talked about Kenyon Drake having a kind of a difficult matchup. And Mostert could get back into things. Now, there's an example of somebody came back in from injury and didn't do great. So,
well, he came back from injury and did well for like 2 quarters, and then got injured again, and then came back from injury again.
Okay, I didn't see that. All right, so they pulled him out for like an ankle, or
like earlier in the season, because remember he went out twice to start the year. Like he started the year off hot, went out, got 11 points in 2 quarters, then went out again.
Okay. But he was back this week, last weekend, and he did. What did he have? Like 60 yards, something like that. 40 yards. Mostert.
Yeah, he had like 40 something and a touchdown. I mean, against a tough Rams defense. I mean, the bigger thing was he got the carries. You know, he had like 16 carries. So
he's the man there. Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably go with him for the matchup.
AJ, same?
Oh, yeah, I just remembered Cardinals are playing Rams. Yeah, then definitely Mostert.
Okay, I agree. Which defense do you think I should choose? Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, actually, Sam, I forgot. Thank you for being, and Tom. All these new names I haven't seen. Maybe you've been watching us before, but it's good to have you guys. Kevin says, which defense do you think I should choose from the Rams, Vikings, or Bears?
Yeah, so Rams have Arizona, Vikings have Jacksonville, Chicago has Detroit.
Yeah, I'd probably go Bears. Easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, easy Bears for me. Minnesota might not be bad if you've I'm going to probably play them in a pinch in one spot, but yeah, Chicago.
Same.
I looked at grabbing the Vikings. They're just an abysmal defense. What do you mean? Are they at home? Who are they playing? They're
Jacksonville
playing
and Mike Glennon.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, they're playing Mike Glennon in
Mike
Jacksonville.
Glennon did pretty well last week.
Yeah, but he's one of those guys. I mean, I don't. How do you trust him to repeat that over and over?
It's kind of reminiscent of how Alex Smith threw for 400 yards in his one game and then
Debut, yeah.
completely tapered off.
That is true. That is true. I would worry about. Not necessarily. I mean, they're just the rumors of the demise of Jacksonville have just been overly blown up.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Chicago is preferable, but I mean, there's a lot of pretty good defensive options out there this week. I think Green Bay, hosting that terrible Philly offense. Seattle, gets the Giants without Daniel Jones. There's a lot of good defensive options. So, but if those are all taken, I mean, towards the end of the list, I would say maybe the Vikings.
Okay. Over the Rams. You'd rather the Vikings over the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, that's tougher. The Rams are a good defense, but they're playing, a good offense. So yeah, I would probably go with them. I mean, there's just, I would go with the Vikings over someone like, just looking at who has the good matchups this week. Like, here you've got the Raiders have the Jets. Well, but the Raiders, you just don't seem to know exactly what you're going to get from them. They had a good game against Denver. Last two games. Now, granted, that's been Kansas City and then at Atlanta. They've had negative points. So that's a little bit riskier there with them.
Yeah. So you would go Minnesota over Las Vegas, really?
Yeah, probably so. I think there's less risk there.
Interesting. All right. Well, we got some. The chat is blowing up. We've got two Anthonys in the chat. The first Anthony, our buddy Anthony's in the listener league, I believe, right?
Different Anthony.
Anthony G.
I think that's a different Anthony. There's another Anthony.
Oh, wow. He says Melvin Gordon or Wayne Gallman if CEH doesn't play.
I wonder if he means Lindsey. Well, like I'm wondering if he's saying, I'm not sure if his question is that he has CEH and needs to put one of them in.
No, CEH is ill and may not play.
I know, but I'm saying I wasn't sure. There's also I just wondered if he meant like there's also a like Philip Lindsay is questionable, but anyway, maybe it's just that he has CEH and would start him.
He's got those three, yeah.
Because actually, if Lindsay doesn't play, I might play Gordon over CEH. Anyway, even if you play, yeah.
Well, which one would you pick? Melvin Gordon? Who do you have higher, Melvin Gordon or Wayne Gallman? And that is, it does look like Lindsey's not going to play, but I don't know. At this point, who would you rather start?
And real quick, he says his main start is Kamara, so he just needs one of those other two if CEH doesn't play.
Yeah. For me, it's if Philip Lindsay doesn't play Gordon, because Wayne Gallman, I've been a Wayne Gallman truther, but not having Daniel Jones and turning to, I guess it's McCoy this week. I worry about how much they're going to be able to move that offense. So it's sorry, I'm just looking at something here. It's Gordon for me if Lindsey doesn't play. If he does, then it's if Lindsey does play, it's Gallman.
Yeah, I actually think this could be who are the who are the Broncos playing? I always blank out on
The Broncos and Chiefs, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
So Melvin Gordon. So the Chiefs don't have that great of a run defense.
Mm-hmm.
Melvin could go off this week.
Yeah, I was looking to see what's the latest on if they've said anything more about Philip Lindsay. I think for a while it was looking like he was going to play. They were optimistic, but that doesn't mean anything. Like we've heard so many times,
Coach
and like Kenny Galladay is a good example of like, oh no, it's not as bad as we thought. He's practicing. He's like, oh no, and then 5 weeks later, he's still not playing. So I don't trust anything that they have to say. I've become more distrusting this year of coach speak than ever before.
Do you think that's because? Do you think they're playing more gamemanship because of COVID, or you're just sort of skeptical?
I don't know. I mean, well, no, more so this year. It seems like they've become. Yeah, I don't know if it's playing more games because of COVID or what, but it seems for some reason they're just lying about players' availability.
Yeah, and I think I think with COVID there's more wiggle room, where they're able to. I saw somebody talking about it where they're able to sort of lie about whether or not play they're going to play them or not. I don't know. It just seems like there's more. I don't think parity is the word. What is the word I'm looking for? Where it's vague whether or not they can put them on injury reserve or there's some more room for gamesmanship. Okay, so let's focus here. We're going to play Gordon, right?
Gordon if
Lindsay's out.
If Lindsay's out, Gordon. If not, I guess I would still go Gallman because at least he's the guy, and Seattle's defense is not that great. Okay.
So Anthony, see if Lindsay plays. I play Gordon either way. I like him there. Since Jacobs is out, should I start David Johnson, Booker, or JK? I definitely play JK. David Johnson is not playing.
I think he just got activated.
Yeah, he did. So,
well, he may not play though, right?
From what I've seen, he's going to.
He's going to play. Okay.
Offensive coordinator said that he looks great and is ready to go.
Oh, well, would you play David Johnson or JK?
Not against Indy. Not against Indy.
Against Indy. And Booker. I don't know. I might just slot Booker in there. I like JK though. What do you guys think?
I would go Booker because I just expect the volume there with him, and JK. I don't know. I mean, I've got to play him in some places, so I hope the Ravens are going to make him the feature back. But that game's not till Tuesday. Hopefully, there's no more COVID issues.
Oh yeah.
But and we just I don't know. We don't know exactly what we're going to get. It's kind of like how you said with Lamar, like coming back from the COVID list. Is it what's it going to be like? So I think Booker is the safest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would do the same thing, especially with JK. I feel like with Ravens running backs and with Colts running backs, it's just like it's like Two-Face. You flip a coin, you're not sure whether you're going to get the good side or the bad side of the running offense that day. So yeah, I definitely go Devontae Booker with a great matchup this week.
Okay. Well, there you have it. I'd still go with JK. But yeah, I see what you guys are saying. Also, should I start Green Bay or the Seahawks defense? I mean, Green Bay has a really good. They're playing. I forget who they're playing, but it's a great matchup.
Let's keep in mind the Seahawks are playing the Giants with no Daniel Jones.
That is true, and they have healthy Adams, right? Jamal Adams is healthy.
Yeah, this is interesting just because both of these defenses are good real life defenses to an extent. Like Seahawks have Jamal Adams, Packers have Jair Alexander and Zadarius Smith, but the Packers are bottom 5 statistically in run defense, and the Seahawks are bottom 5 in pass defense, and neither of them force that many turnovers, which makes this hard, because if one of them had a better turnover differential, then it would be easy for me, but I'll go Seahawks because they're facing a backup quarterback, and those are always typically golden matchups, even though Green Bay's got a good matchup too. I just can't really pass up Seattle going against a second stringer.
I thought I saw somewhere too that Jair was injured or something.
Again?
No, maybe not.
Oh, no.
I'm looking, and I don't see that. But
what about you? What do you think?
I think you're right. I've switched over to Seahawks in my thinking here since you've been talking. I think they may just crush Cody. It was not Cody. We talked about this at the beginning. What's his name?
Oh my goodness.
I'm stuck on that
Colt
Cody
McCoy.
name. Colt
Who's still
McCoy.
the most popular quarterback in Texas.
Really, he's got such a cowboy name. It's awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And let's see, where are we at here? Oh, we got a little jabber between the two Anthonys. And let's see. Where are we? So we already talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin comes back at it with a question: Brandon Cooks or Claypool? Man, Brandon Cooks looks to be the number one as far as in with the Texans. So I think I would go Brandon Cooks here.
Mm-hmm.
Although, what are you guys' thoughts as far as being, not having Fuller there to take away defense's attention? Will he be able to sustain the kind of defense, attention that he's going to get?
Yeah, that's a little bit worrisome. I would actually maybe go Claypool because I don't know how this is going to change things. And the Colts are a tough pass defense.
That is true.
And then back to that other question, I'd go Seahawks over.
Oh, right.
Over Packers. I like both actually. All right, but I think Seahawks have a better one. Yeah, this one I would probably. Brandon Cooks has just been weird in the past. I mean, he's had a good season, surprisingly sort of resurgent season in Houston, but mainly because of the Colts' pass defense, I would probably go with Claypool.
Okay. Yeah, even though Washington is surprisingly a really good pass defense this year, this has Ben Roethlisberger, and the Steelers' offense just cannot run the football now for some reason. So, yeah, I'd go Claypool, who's getting 8+ targets per game right now, because I don't even know how the Texans' pass offense is going to look now.
Good point. A lot of questions there. Claypool looked good too. Even kind of a crazy game on, when was that? Wednesday. Corey Davis or Alan Lazard and this looks like as a flex in full PPR. Interesting. Lazard he got a full healthy tag, so just not having a tag. He looks to go full tag. Full tag. Anyways, he's going to be
healthy.
playing. He's healthy. Corey Davis, though, we've talked about off and on. He's sort of a RotoHackers favorite at this point. That's a hard choice for me. I think I probably go. I don't know. I think I like Lazard's. I think I like his matchup better. So,
Philly over Cleveland?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Jared, you've always been the Corey Davis guy. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm sticking with Davis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
this just could be an all running, like the matchup, not just like I don't think he's facing a easier corner, I just feel like it's just going to be a huge running game for the Titans.
It definitely could be, but I wonder if that was more last week, maybe because Henry just completely blew up last week. And I mean, Cleveland's still going to have Myles Garrett back, so it's not going to be the easiest run defense to get. And Lazard he's back and he's touchdown dependent again. And that's the thing with basically all Packers people after Devontae Adams. It's a shot in the dark about who's going to get the touchdown between Lazard, MVS, Jay Sternberger, and Robert Tonyan. And Corey Davis is just going to consistently get you 7+. Like the one time that what's the dude's name? The one time that Lazard went crazy was a game where there was no Devontae Adams, and Devontae Adams is healthy. Corey Davis, especially in full point PPR, especially. Lazard doesn't get that many catches. He gets maybe 4 to 6 targets a game max. So I would go Corey Davis in this scenario here. Plus the Browns have just been they've let back-to-back games quarterbacks throw for 230 plus and 2 touchdowns, and one of those quarterbacks was Mike Glennon. So yeah, I would definitely go Corey Davis here.
So is this a good place to start? What's this? The quarterback? Tannehill?
I think it could be. I don't really think any matchup for Tannehill is bad because he's never really been a guy to just outright bomb. He'll either throw for like 14, 15 points, and he may not have the highest ceiling, but I think any Tannehill game is not a bad start, I don't think.
What do you think, Jared? Is this a good place to start Tannehill?
I'm starting him. Yeah, I'm starting him in some leagues.
Yeah,
he had a stretch of some tough matchups, but his end of season schedule here, at least prior to Green Bay, in the what would be the fantasy championship, I think looks pretty good. Cleveland this week, Cleveland's a bottom 10 pass defense. Then Jacksonville, then Detroit. Detroit's sort of middle of the pack, but I think you've still got opportunity there. So even if Derrick Henry's running over him a lot, it might set up, short scores for Tannehill. So I like him for the next 3 weeks, starting this week.
Interesting. Have to take a look at that. I have a chance to pick him up in a couple leagues. All right. Kevin comes back with the Devontae Booker. I think we're pretty much in agreement. Start Devontae Booker. He's got a great matchup. He's done well so far. And then let's see. Oh, this is the Anthony that's in the RotoHackers.
It's
How
an
many
Anthony
Anthonys do we have today?
I don't know what it is.
Hello, RotoHackers and my fellow Anthonys. To replace Will Fuller, I'm looking at my waiver wire options. Corey Davis, Michael Pittman. A lot of Corey Davis questions today. It's interesting. Corey Davis, Michael Pittman, or Marvin Jones. Which receiver should I pick up? Are they available to pick up? Whew, that's a good question. I guess Corey Davis would be the go-to guy here, although Michael Pittman's looked good so far. Jared, you're the Corey Davis guy. You're the one who's been on him the most lately, and to our benefit. And you're a Colts guy. What do you think here between Michael Pittman and Corey Davis? I don't think Marvin Jones really stacks up against those guys, but what do you think?
It's a tough. I think Davis has a more limited ceiling, but I think if you're looking sort of upside, Pittman might have the best upside. He tends to be getting the volume. I mean, if you're replacing Will Fuller, I don't know if Fuller was kind of slotting in as your number 1 or number 2 wide receiver there. But 3 out of the last 4 games, Pittman's had 7, 8, 9 targets. And even in the one game that he didn't, he had a 66 yards and a touchdown. Marvin Jones, he's had a tough time. He's getting the volume, but Chicago's a tough pass defense.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to trust him on that. I feel like all three of these guys are at about the same, they're like right around the same level, where, gosh, I don't know, if you had a three-sided coin, you could probably flip that three-sided coin and come out with one of them. I don't know. I actually need a minute on this one. I'm going to let you guys pick.
AJ?
For me, I like Pittman's matchup against Houston. I like that a lot, to be fair, but I don't understand what the Colts pass offense is. 1 week he'll get 9 targets, and the next week he'll get 2, and that just makes no sense to me. And you guys know I'm probably the biggest Marvin Jones fan on the planet, and I love the Bears. So, yeah, Marvin Jones, I love the guy, but he has not done well in the last 2 weeks. He's going to have Kyle Fuller or Jalen Johnson blanketed all over him this week. And Detroit has just not looked the same. I don't know how healthy Swift's going to be. Galladay's still not back, so Jones is going to get most of the attention. And Corey Davis has always had a safe floor of like 8+, so I would go Corey Davis.
Interesting. I like that analysis. What do you made up your mind, J-Rod? Flip a coin.
I think it's between Davis and Pittman for me. If you, I guess I would go Davis. I mean, he's been, he in an offense with AJ Brown and Derrick Henry, he kind of gets lost in the mix, but he's pretty reliable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think it's a round of Davis's, although I do like Pittman. It's hard, but I like your guys' points, and yeah. Quick question for you, kind of relating to this. So if somebody had to choose, and I don't think I have to choose this, but I was thinking about this. If you had to choose between Tannehill and Rivers, who would you start?
I'm starting Tannehill. I'm even starting Tannehill over Herbert in some leagues.
Whoa!
Wow.
Maybe over Kyler, because I mean, the Patriots have been rough on opposing quarterbacks, and I benched Kyler last week, and that ended up being a good decision. Right. He had 8.9 points, so I went with who did I go with over him in some leagues? I think like Fitzpatrick, some of those guys, so.
I'm going Cousins? Would you go Cousins, or would you go Tannehill, or would you go Cousins or Rivers?
That's a little bit tougher, because I keep just like waiting for that game when Kirk Cousins is going to turn back into a pumpkin. And the Houston game could be more competitive, force Rivers to throw a little bit more. Another guy that I'm, if we're throwing in some other guys, another guy that I'm thinking about this week. Well, I don't know if I'm going to start him in any leagues, if I'm that desperate, but this is my broken clock is always, right twice a day. Right twice a day. This is my quarterback version of that. Like, Mitch Trubisky is playable when they play the Lions. And so
at least 25 points against them. There's 24 or 25 points at least against them every time they've met.
Yeah. So earlier this year, he had 24. And going back to those 2 games last year, I don't remember exactly what his fantasy point total was, but that last game of the season, let's see, he had, not the last game of the season, last time he played him, he threw for 338 and 3 touchdowns. In the first game of the season, he only threw for 173, but 3 touchdowns. Gosh, you don't want to start. You don't want to start Mitch Trubisky, but gosh, he's just he's always so reliable against the Lions. It's tempting in some leagues.
Him? Would you do him? Gun to your head, him or Kirk Cousins?
The only thing that worries me with that Minnesota Jacksonville game is that Minnesota could get out to a lead. Although I don't know, a lot of these other games, they've ended up being closer.
Yeah.
I guess I would roll Cousins, but again, that's such a tough pick between the two of them.
Yeah. Well, what happened to AJ Herschel? We need his opinion on the biscuit. Oh,
Don't
there
ask
he
me
is.
about that.
Is that why you took yourself out of this?
I'm done talking about the Bears offense for this year.
Just done talking about them?
I'm done
All
talking
right.
about the offense.
Well, let's go back to the Minnesota offense because the Chosen Rose, the Chosen Rose, wants to know, is that a Beauty and the Beast reference or no? Chosen Rose. Anyways, wants to know Kyle Rudolph or Anthony Fercer.
I think I'd go Rudolph, and I think this goes back to what Jared was talking about last week, how Irv Smith Jr. is going to be out for the second straight week. So I'd go Rudolph. Fercer really has not done anything in the Titans offense all year. And at least Rudolph had one nice game, and that was when Irv was out. So I'll go Rudolph.
Yeah. I mean, Thielen is back this week, so that hurts a little bit. But Rudolph's other best game, apart from last week, came when Smith was out. So, yeah, I would go with him.
And even with Thielen coming back, like when he was gone, I don't know if it helped Rudolph so much as it did the other Vikings wide receivers because everybody got 8 catches and 70 yards last week. The second, third string wide receivers were going crazy.
Well, his other question is Booker this week? Question mark. I mean, we got a lot of Booker questions. I'm starting to wonder. Like now, the more it comes out of my mouth, like play Booker. Now I'm starting to think, wow, are we really committing to Booker? Is this a thing? Is this a trap game where everybody says play Booker and?
I think the thing is at this point, we've talked about this before, there really isn't that much else you can do, though, if you're hurting at running back or one of your running backs is gone, because a lot of teams nowadays, I mean, the running back waiver wire is dead. Like, after Devontae Booker, who do you got? Ito Smith with Todd Gurley still in? Like, there really isn't anybody else unless Frank Gore is still on your waiver wire. And, I mean, his ceiling is probably still going to be like 12 because this is the Jets we're talking about. No offense to Kevin L., who's Jets Nation. I'm very sorry. But, yeah, I think that Booker's just one of the best. He's the best waiver option because he's actually going to start. He's actually going to get carries. And he's actually produced when he's gotten his opportunity. So, yeah, I'd go Booker. I'd fire him up.
I'm a little worried about it. I'm starting to worry about it. The more committing to him at this point, like I think he's a good play, but just telling everybody to play him now, I'm starting to think, uh-oh. What do you think, Jared?
I'm still in on. All right, it's just a little update, but it's nothing meaningful. Booker's a full go for me on all this. If he burns me, he burns me. But he's stepping into that Josh Jacobs role. We've seen him do well even with Jacobs in there. He's got a good matchup. There's no second thoughts for me on this. Like I said, if he burns me, he burns me. But I think you got to take the chance, or at least I do in my leagues.
And he agrees with you guys on Tannehill, and he agrees with you not playing Herbert. And Kevin says, well, don't worry about it. They're tanking for Trevor.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. You're going up against the team that's looking to get Trevor Lawrence. So
are they actively going to lose this game?
I don't know. I don't know if they even need to actively try if Adam Gase is your coach.
That's what Kevin's saying.
I was looking to see let's see how I was looking to see. I hadn't looked at the standings lately to see exactly if there's they're 0-11. You still got Jacksonville there at 1-10. They got to be careful that they don't let Jacksonville sneak up on them. I mean, Jacksonville's out here playing Mike Glennon, so they're going to be in competition with them. So I don't know if there's anybody else. The Bengals now without Burrow. Of course, they wouldn't be drafting a quarterback, but they could trade with somebody else. So it kind of looks like those three teams are, the three that are in the running for that top pick.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's like an unspoken agreement between the Jets and the Jaguars where, look, if you let us get Trevor, we'll let you guys get Justin Fields at pick 2. Maybe that's like the silent agreement between the two teams here.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they go for that Trey Lance kid. I don't know.
Ooh. Oh, I see Myles Gaskins trending towards playing.
Okay.
That's what I saw on the little thing, but that was still from yesterday. So
was it? Okay.
Yeah.
And then Eagles elevated Jordan Howard off of the practice squad.
Eagles or
Eagles? Yeah. He ended up somehow without anybody noticing. He ended up back with them.
What?
So does that worry you for Sanders?
I mean, surely not. I mean, surely they're not going back to Jordan Howard on this. I don't know. I mean, he did okay weird. In spurts, but yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Well, let's see. Is there anything else? Kevin says, yeah, we are scared about Jacksonville. Really, that's a weird, in my head just now, trying to figure that. Scared that Jacksonville's going to lose. And
well, see, here's the thing: the Jets have the Raiders this week. Then they get Seattle, the Rams, the Browns, and the Patriots. So I think the only one you worry about winning there is Patriots. That's the only one I think you worry about.
And I don't think they're going to beat the Patriots. I mean, Bill Belichick doesn't need talent to scheme around the Jets.
There have been rumors of Belichick sticking it to the Jets by losing to them before. It wouldn't be, people have talked about it wouldn't be beyond Belichick to lose to them so they don't get, he doesn't have to play Trevor twice next year.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, I don't know who would win the tiebreaker between them and Jacksonville if they both ended up with one win. But I mean, even at the Bengals with 2 wins, even if they don't get another win, I don't think the Jets are going to get to 2 wins in any scenario. So it looks like it's either Jaguars or Jets for that top pick.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. And then does Trevor Lawrence go, maybe I'll just come back to Clemson for another year.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if the COVID disruptions would make that. I mean, we already know that it's fully an option for him, right?
Yeah. This is just his junior year. So.
Oh, right. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Well, that sort of does it for our questions. We're down to only my mom watching. So, what is there anything you guys want to talk about? It's a beautiful day here in North Carolina. I may get out and do a little painting on the house. So, what do you guys feel like? Should we end early? I mean, early. It's been 1 hour and 8 minutes. Is there anything you guys want to hit? Any questions you guys have? Or want to discuss before we head out?
I think I brought up my I was going to talk about, some sort of desperation plays. I think I kind of, already brought up one of those with Trubisky. I think we've pretty well talked about most of them. Maybe the only guy that really didn't get talked about that I might end up rolling out in some leagues would be Rashad Perryman.
His injury tag worries me.
Apparently no tag now, or at least not on Yahoo. They've taken it off. So,
okay. Oh yeah.
So last 3 games, he barely missed. He barely missed double digits last week. He had 9.9, 8 targets and caught 4 for 79 yards. 2 previous games prior to that, he had touchdowns and had a 100-yard game. So, if you're desperate, maybe him. And then a guy that I would maybe reach a little bit farther to say, if you're really desperate, this one is more of a risk. T.Y. Hilton finally had a game last week where he actually hit double digits, had 81 and a touchdown. Goodness. And he gets Houston. And Houston is the one team that T.Y. Hilton has historically just roasted,
Really?
Oh my goodness.
If you're really desperate, you might want, but we're starting to go, the farther we go in, it's now going on a couple years since he's really kind of torched them. So I'm not recommending that at all. One last one. Let's see. Actually, I may have lost it now. Yeah, that may be.
Maybe it.
That may be it for me. I think I may have lost the other one.
Well, I had a question. And then we'll go to you too, AJ. But Taysom Hill.
Mm-hmm.
He did well against. We've talked about him ad nauseum, but now I have to make the decision since I'm really not feeling good about trusting Lamar. Do I start Hill or Kirk Cousins, Captain Kirk Cousins? I don't know. I just look at Cousins. I mean, the matchup, Jacksonville wants to lose, I mean, the more I look at the matchup,
that Jacksonville decides to give Dalvin Cook, their all-access stadium pass and just say, "Hey, everything here is free today."
That's true. So would that hurt Cousins?
It could go either way. I was just looking at Yahoo's rankings, and they're basically right there together. Cousins is ranked 10 and Taysom is 11 in the overall rankings. Like in Andy Barron's rankings, Cousins is 9, Taysom is 10. I think there's just a lot of guys that are kind of bunched up right there together.
Well, looking at game theory, I have on the same team, I have Kamara. Is it if I need Kamara to go off? So if Kamara goes off, will that mean, what do you guys think? Will that mean that Taysom does well, or does he take a little bit of a back seat? So if I'm just sort of trying to be consistent, thinking about a game scenario, who knows what's going to happen? But just thinking through the game theory and a game scenario, would playing Taysom Hill sort of be foolish if I need Kamara to go off?
No, not necessarily. Kamara is a receiving back too. I just don't know that he is going to go off. Atlanta's actually been solid against the run. They've given up the 3rd fewest points to running backs. Yeah. So I would, I'm not expecting a whole lot from Kamara this week. Sorry. But between Hill being in there, and that kind of changing what they do a little bit, between Atlanta being a solid run defense, between Kamara having a little bit of a foot issue and them giving Latavius Murray more carries, I'm not super excited about Kamara until hopefully week 15 Breeze gets back, because then that would be our because I do have Kamara in one league, in our RotoHackers listeners league, and then I would like to have him back to full speed for the playoffs there. But we'll see.
But maybe this is just Hill takes it on his shoulders through passing and maybe running it himself with a little. And so maybe this is a fire up the hill.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that the 2 touchdowns Atlanta did allow to the run both went to Taysom Hill. And Kamara, even though he's... Wow, my voice cracked. Kamara, even though he's the passing down back, has caught 3 passes for a total of... Or sorry, 1 pass for a total of -2 yards, while Taysom Hill has been quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm not really high on Kamara this week. I mean, there's a chance that he blows up, that the Saints try to give him the ball a lot just because, you know, he hasn't done great in a minute. But, I mean, Latavius Murray got stinking 20 carries last game. He's the one who went off. So, I like Taysom still. I think he's got like I said, I think he's got a safe floor thanks to his rushing floor. And Kamara, I worry a lot about until Breeze comes back. So, I have more faith in Hill to score 18 right now than Kamara next week.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, like I was just checking to see the standings, and actually right now, the Saints are in the top seed in the NFC.
Yeah. I mean, this would be a really good win for them. They'd put them in a sweet spot, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, their last, you know, things get a little bit tougher for them. Not next week really, but for a couple of games there, they get Kansas City and then Minnesota. So things do get at least a little bit tougher for them. So ideally, you know, these are the games you want to win this week against Atlanta, next week against Philly, and then they close out the season at Carolina. Because you can't take anything for granted, that Kansas City game especially. So they definitely want to bank these wins right now.
All right. Well, still, I feel a little bit better about Hill. But we got some questions before we go to you, AJ. We got a few things to hit here. Devontae Booker or Zeke this week, man. Oof. It's kind of looking like Devontae Booker.
I can't believe we're saying that. Like, ask us this in July. Would I start Devontae Booker or Ezekiel Elliott?
I may have a league where I start Frank Gore over Zeke.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
Booker.
Yeah, start your Booker. Cup, Corey Davis. A lot of Corey Davis today. Yeah. Cup, Corey Davis, Jarvis Landry, pick 2. I like Corey Davis and Jarvis Landry. I've sort of thought that with OBJ going out that we'd get more Jarvis Landry, just because I think he is the skill in that receiving group.
And passing, keep in mind. Landry's got that arm.
That is true. So, yeah, I like those 2. Not a big fan of Cup because he's such a boomer bust. I really feel like on that team, what's his name? The other guy, Woods is the more consistent. Robert Woods is the more consistent one. So, what do you guys think? AJ, you seem to not be able to decide.
Make up my mind.
Jared's he's got a dog fighting ring in the background or something.
Yeah, sorry. You just never know. You just never know what you're going to get from them. Cup and Davis for me. Jarvis Landry finally had a good week last week, but you just don't know. That Browns offense just runs through Chubb and Hunt. That's not my dogs. And Cup, I don't really love him against in every week. You don't know week to week, but he's more likely than Landry. So that would be mine.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Davis is the easiest one out of those for me, and I just don't. It's less about me trusting Landry and less about me trusting Baker Mayfield to throw it more than 12 times. So Yeah, I think I'd go Cooper Kupp there. And I mean, last week he had a down week, but he was also playing San Francisco, who's surprisingly not a bad pass defense, and they had Richard Sherman back. So I would go Davis and Kupp this week.
Okay. What days and stuff do you... Oh, we usually do Saturday mornings and Tuesday evenings, not Wednesdays. I don't know where that came from. Saturday mornings, typically about 11:30, 12 Eastern time, and Tuesday nights around 9:30, 10.
Yeah, we're getting more around like 9:30, 9, honestly.
Yeah.
We're starting to push it up more on Tuesday nights. But yeah, Tuesday nights, Saturday mornings.
And then, great that you could join us, Kevin. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Miles is back. Mileas.
Cutest guy.
Will the Lions' new head coach... I'm glad you joined us, man. Sorry, I'm making fun of myself and my inability to pronounce your name. Will the Lions' new head coach stop Trubisky? We talked a little bit about that earlier, and I think, of course, the answer is no. But that is a good question of whether or not the new coach thing will give them a boost. What do you guys think, AJ?
Apparently, everybody in the Lions organization is loving their new interim head coach. Like just this week, Danny Amendola has been raving about him. They want to start the offense and make it more up tempo. Everybody apparently loves the guy. Nagy's never lost to Detroit, so that makes me a little bit more comfortable. And the fact that Detroit does not have a good run defense and David Montgomery just tore up the Packers makes me think that it's going to be Montgomery they have to stop and less Trubisky. And I still don't know how to feel about Trubisky because, our offense was more energetic, but we still turned the ball over like 50 times against Green Bay. So I think it's definitely possible. I mean, look, coming into the year, what's his name? Nagy had never lost to Minnesota either. Look how that ended up on Monday night. We are the team that gave Kirk Cousins a Monday night win. That is not easy for me. So I think David Montgomery is going to be the key piece there. And I mean, like as a Bears fan, part of me is like, oh yes, the Bears are absolutely going to win this. But I'm concerned for sure. We barely beat the Lions week 1. But I think Montgomery should be the key piece there for Chicago.
Well, you talked earlier about Trubisky. If it is all about the run, does that make you worried about Trubisky's chances of going off, Jared?
Nah, I think it's kind of mixed in to where like it is a lot about the run, but Chicago just needs to move the ball however they can, and it's I think going to require some Trubisky. Maybe Trubisky's running some. I don't know. So, I still like him. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So, Miles also asked Booker or Mostert.
This is tougher.
That's actually a good question. We have had a lot of Booker questions and fair amount of Mostert, but not against each other there. I think I don't want to go all Booker. I'm going to go Mostert because, dang, I want to hedge my bets a little bit if Booker is just a total dweeb tomorrow.
I don't know. I like them both. Mostert is sharing a little bit more, probably. Jeff Wilson and some of those other guys. Yeah, it's a little bit tougher. I mean, San Francisco likes to run the ball. Booker, Mostert's probably safer in some ways because San Francisco wants to run the ball. Mm-hmm. But, it's hard for me to go away from Booker in that matchup, especially seeing, he was able to produce pretty well a couple of games with Josh Jacobs in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'd go Mostert as well. I mean, the 2 games he's had rough games against were both against the Rams, and he's going up against Buffalo. And we talked a lot about them early in the year about how good of a defense they were supposed to be, and they really haven't showed up. So I would go Mostert as well. I think he's a safer play.
Could be an interesting game tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That game and the one, both these games. I think there's going to be some good football tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. All right. Cademan Bauer in the chat. What's up, Allied Rivals in the house? Allied Rivals, check them out. Go to youtube.com/Allied Rivals. They got a good podcast over there. One of their hosts is none other than A.J. Herschel, the kid. And he says, good to see you guys. Kevin says, wait a minute. What are y'all's favorite teams? My favorite team is the Packers. I don't know if that... I tend to root against them fantasy. Not root against them fantasy. I'm not very heavy on the Packers fantasy-wise because I like to just straight up root for them and not have to worry about what they're going to do fantasy-wise. So I try to separate that out. What about you guys? Who are your favorite? Well, AJ, I know yours, but Jared, I'm not really sure. Oh yeah. You're the Colts guy. Yeah, that's right. So what is it?
Yeah,
Colts
I'm
Jared
I'm ride or die Bears for me.
Ride or die Bears
from Chicago. That's the way it's going to be for life. Yep. And Jared, by association, is a Colts fan. Like, what do we qualify that as?
Yeah, so the quick little story on the Colts is that I had a friend who was living in Indiana and got to going up there to visit him every year, and we would always go to a Colts game, and so it got to the point where I'd gone for like 4 Colts games and 1 Falcons game in my life, and I'm like, you know what? I've got more invested in the Colts than I do the Falcons. Plus, I was working for a newspaper that was in the location where the Falcons training camp is. So we did stuff with them, coverage of them. And so it was also partially a job, and they were difficult. And the Falcons I just got exhausted with, the constant heartbreaking losses. And so I basically just said, yeah, all right, I've been to 3 or 4 times as many Colts games. I'm going to be a Colts fan. And I was glad to get off that ship before the Falcons Super Bowl loss.
So when did you jump ship from Atlanta and hop over to Indy? How long ago is that?
It was, I think, like 2012. It was like Andrew Luck's first year, so it wasn't like the Peyton Manning era. It wasn't like,
so they can't call you bandwagon then.
Right, yeah, and yeah.
Okay, well, we got to wrap it up, but we got Cademan saying good things. Good to see you guys. Good to see you, Cademan, even though you can't see me. Hey, I see your wonderful face in the, what is that called? The thumbnail picture. There.
Yeah, profile picture.
And his favorite is Packers. Hey, good question, Kevin. Who's your favorite team, Kevin? So Cademan's like me, go Pack, go.
Kevin's a Jets fan, remember, because he was our Jets Nation guy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But Cademan, like me, is go Pack, go. He likes the Saints and the Seahawks, too. Or what is this?
He likes their matchups this week.
Oh, he likes their matchups.
Yeah.
But I think Cademan's Packers fan like me, right?
Unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. Go Packers. Let's see. Oh, and the Chosen Rose. What is that reference to? I feel like I should know that. So Chosen, tell us, the Chosen Rose, tell us what that is. Oh, wait. Is that's, I think that's, what is the thing?
Oh, that's Josh Rosen, isn't it?
No. Well, maybe. I think it's that singles show where you have to you get the Chosen Rose. What is that?
Oh, The Bachelor.
You're talking about the Bachelor?
Is that The Bachelor?
I don't know if that's it or not.
Okay. It might be Josh Rosen.
Oh, he's a hardcore Browns fan.
Oof. Interesting. Oh, Cayman says, I might have beaten Ice Rink Falcons in the RotoHackers listener league.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and send your thank you note to Derrick Henry for that win.
Last week, Scarabee Giraffe took you to the cleaners.
Yep.
And this week, I'm going to. So, man, this is rough.
I've got Scarabee. I've got Scarabee this week.
Uh-oh. Now you've clinched the playoffs, right?
I've clinched the
easy.
playoffs and basically clinched a bye for the first round because Jonathan and Slanting Jub are both a game behind me. And obviously I could lose this week and they could both win, but Slanting Chubb is like 118 plus points behind me. So he's not gonna, it would be very unlikely that he would make up 118 points in 1 week. So it looks like I'm going to be in one of those top 2 seeds and get a bye for week 14.
Nice.
Let the rest of you fight it out like dogs in week 14. Speaking of dogs fighting in the background.
Yeah, you're the one with some barking back there. But we're just sharpening our claws to get to you, my friend. Let's see. Oh, we got Lightning Bauer and says, "Keep up the great work, guys. Thank you." Wow, got some good. I wonder, he's got to be related to Cademan Bauer somehow, right? Lightning Bauer, maybe. And then Chosen Rose says, it sounds like the chosen one. It's not the Bachelor. Okay, thank you. Good. His last name is Rose.
Nice.
I see. Oh, interesting. I know a couple Roses. Where are you from, Chosen Rose? I know a couple Roses out in the Chicagoland area. And Lightning Bauer says, "Go Pack, go." Wow. A lot of Packers fans in the house these days. And he said his Chosen Rose says, "My team name is the Roseanne Bars."
Oh my goodness.
Who's Roseanne Barr?
She's an actress.
Oh, is that Roseanne?
I think so, if I remember correctly.
Roseanne Barr. Oh, yeah, okay. Interesting. All right. And then Anthony G's back in, says, "You think Kupp can get 21 plus and Thielen can get 25 plus?" Going up against the number one in my league, and this is a must-win game for me. I think
if this is PPR, I think it's possible. I think it's possible in PPR, especially for Thielen. He could definitely get 25 plus. Kupp is just that's the one worrier one right there.
So yeah, that's going to be interesting. I mean, both of them could go off for such easily, but whether we expect it tomorrow in their matchups, I don't know. Maybe this may be the week to get it.
Yeah,
Jared, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Thielen's always possible. Maybe even in half point PPR. He's had a 28 this year. He's had a 22, 24, 28. Basically you need maybe 8 or so catches from him, 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns, and that's doable against the Jaguars. So Kupp, it's just harder to predict with Kupp. Arizona, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't assume Patrick Peterson's going to be on him. Arizona's been pretty forgiving to some of those like number 2 wide receivers. We saw
it's full PPR too.
Oh, he did say it is. Yeah. So, I think there's a possibility. But to have both of them get it, it's a little bit tougher. But the fact that it's full PPR, it's doable.
Yeah, absolutely doable. So be of good cheer. There is hope. Renzo Fabry, good to have you, bro. Hey guys, Jordan Reed or Evan Ingram? Interesting. Another Evan Ingram question. Jordan Reed looks to have a good matchup, and I think I'd go Jordan Reed. I like Jordan Reed's matchup this week, and he's healthy. And whenever he's healthy,
is he
I
though?
like to put him in. Is he though? I think he's as healthy as he's gonna get. This may be your only chance to get. And there is we didn't talk about this, but there are rumors that my boy Skittles Kittle may come back by week 16.
No way. There's
Yeah.
no way they bring him back when they're probably going to miss the playoffs. There's no way, right?
No, you don't think so?
I don't think they would. Wouldn't you just rather hold him out through the season, get him healthy for next year? I mean, they're already in a division that's got the Rams, Cardinals, and Seahawks all trying to vie for a playoff spot.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be kind of foolish to bring him back, but he loves to play. Can't keep the man from playing. What do you think?
Here's the
Yeah.
What do
thing.
you think, though? What?
Here's the thing. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would have gone Evan Ingram if Daniel Jones was starting because he was getting in the last 5 games, he's had 9 or more targets in 4 of those. So if Daniel Jones was starting, I would have done it, but he's not. So I'll go Jordan Reed. I think he had a bad matchup last week against the Rams, and it was Debo. It was a Debo type week too.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco has coming up. They have Buffalo, Washington, and Dallas. If they can win that Buffalo game this week, it's not a stretch to see them beating Washington and Dallas. Maybe they're sitting at 8-6, and then maybe you do look at bringing back Kittle.
True.
So I think it kind of depends on their circumstances,
Yeah.
But I could see it. I could see it possibly happening.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Jordan Reed or Evan Ingram?
It's still Ingram for me, though.
Yeah.
Reed is just, I don't know, just too
Don't
unpredictable.
like him. Yeah, I hear you. Kevin says he's repping Rochester, New York.
Nice.
I just talked to somebody from Rochester yesterday. I forget what their name was, but I was telling them I had a stint there where I was growing up in the Mohawk Valley near the Adirondack Mountains. So the Erie Canal, we lived near there. If you know where that is, Kevin. And we have Anthony G. He's back with another question full. Oh no, that was
Yeah.
And AJ has kindly put our Discord link in the chat. So join us, ask questions. We often are, AJ and I are often in there mixing it up. And I'll post news items there regularly. Pretty breaking news stuff going on in there.
We got a lot of great people already in there. We'd love to have more.
Yeah. And Cayman says, looking forward to a loss in the listener league. Okay. Who's he? Oh, because he's playing the stud. All right, guys. But let's get back to you, AJ. Did you have any things that you wanted to talk about?
I just had one question I wanted to ask you guys. Divo Samuel just, turned into Julio Jones last week, but Ayuk's coming back. So how do you feel about him this week?
There's places where I'm going to have to start Devo. It's just now down to a point where, just like there aren't that many options for me in certain places, like where a guy may be a clearly, head and shoulders superior option to the next best guy. So I've got leagues where I have to start him. It does worry me with Ayuk coming back. But I'm still going to give it a shot.
I love Debo. They're sort of the same player. They're kind of mirror images of each other. Big guys. Debo is clearly a Judah. What? Judah is a Bucks fan?
Judah a Bucks fan?
Is you? No, I am not. Packers fan.
No, he's talking about basketball, Milwaukee, not Tampa.
Oh no, that's RotoHack. I'm a RotoHackers fan. So he is clearly a running back who catches the ball in space. So just the way he plays, just a big guy. He just looks like a running back catching the ball in space when he catches those short passes, does just amazing things with both of them. Although I do think Ayuk is more of a he's more. I like to see him catch the long ball. I think he's more of a field stretcher, and so could have a bigger game. But man, they definitely use a lot of Debo. Now with Mostert back, it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But no Kittle yet, so I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I do like Debo for a pretty high floor of like 10 points or so fantasy wise and a half-point PPR. Both him and Ayuk, I think, could do well tomorrow. They got a good matchup. Who are they playing?
Buffalo,
Yeah.
isn't it? San Francisco,
Yeah,
Buffalo,
yeah.
and it's not till isn't it Sunday night or Monday night?
That sounds right to me.
Oh, is it Monday night?
Let me see. It may be Sunday.
Monday night. Yep, Monday Night Football.
Monday night.
Monday night. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we won't get to see him play tomorrow. NBA team. I'm a Bucks fan. I do like the Bucks. I don't hate them. I've just been off of NBA for so long. I don't really know what's going on. All right. Well, guys, should we call it a day?
I think so.
I think so. It's been a solid episode today.
It's been fun. I always enjoyed talking to you guys and talking to the Anthonys and talking to Cademan and talking to Sam and Kevin and all these guys who showed up. Thank you so much. We will be back probably Tuesday night. Until then, we have one last question. Lamar or Tannehill? That's a Tannehill. I think it's probably a round of Tannehills, right, guys?
I suppose it's tough with that Cowboys matchup. Like, man, that Cowboys matchup is tempting. Even as much as I've been on, as much as I've been on Tannehill, like, gosh, it's tough. But yeah, I guess Tannehill for the safe play. But I like Lamar. I like Lamar if he plays.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard though. Tuesday, we have to wait till Tuesday to find out.
Yeah, that's true. That's the other thing is if we don't know, if you don't know for sure by Sunday, then that's an easy, Tannehill then.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll be back on Tuesday to hash out. Tuesday night is the game. Interesting.
Oh yeah.
So we'll be talking about it.
Nice.
While we're doing that, do we have
Eduardo Garcia has one quick question for us.
Well, we got to give Eduardo. Would you start Jonathan Taylor or Gaskin if Gaskin plays? That's a good question, but I think I'd play Jonathan Taylor. I see him slowly chugging along, doing a little bit better, and who knows? Gaskin or what's that other guy you were talking about?
Dalvin Ahmed or
Patrick Laird.
Laird's
basically the only other one they got. So
yeah. Well, Washington could still play.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd stick with. I think even though Jonathan Taylor's not gonna, he hasn't really blown up. I think he still has a pretty decent floor. He's
got a good schedule the rest of the way.
Yeah,
it does worry me a little bit. Like if they say Gaskin's healthy and Gaskin's good to go, we feel like he's 100%. I'd go Gaskin. If not,
really?
Yeah. If not, I would go Taylor, because even though I think Taylor's, they want to get him going, there's always a chance they fall behind in that game and go to Hines more or something. So,
yeah.
I wonder if I could pick up Gaskins anywhere. He's probably on the waiver
he's,
wire somewhere.
He's not in any of mine. People held on to him.
IR spot, yeah. I think I agree with Jared on this one. Check Sunday morning. If Gaskin's still banged up and he's not 100%, go JT. And especially because the last time Jonathan Taylor played, last time they played Tennessee, he did not have a very good game then. And that still worries me a little bit. He's a little bit touchdown dependent sometimes. And granted, that was a Thursday night game. And y'all know I don't like playing people on Thursday night football. Y'all have known that for a minute. So I think Jonathan Taylor is good if Gaskin isn't 100%. I'll go with Jared on that.
All right. Well, and that will do it. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Find enjoyment where it is to be found and enjoy the games. And if you stop by RotoHackers on Discord, drop us a question or two. Talk to you guys later. I didn't shut it down because I didn't give you guys a chance to say goodbye. I like hit it too early.
Well, I mean, hey, we faked him out, and the only way is Rugby had one more question for us, so we might as well answer it while we're here.
Sure.
Thoughts on DeAndre Swift with the limited workload? Is he worth playing over Frank Gore? Jared,
Play
I know
Gore.
you got Gore.
Yeah, Swift and the matchup scares me, like the coming off injury and the Bears. Yeah, I'm going to be playing Frank Gore over some people, Swift, probably maybe Ezekiel Elliott. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
And Lightning Bauer, we actually did miss one. I just noticed. He said, is there a big fantasy week for Alan Lazard this week?
Oh, I didn't see that one. We talked a little bit about that. I think yes. You guys think no.
Yeah.
It's not that I think no. It's just hard to predict with the Packers because he had a great first impression against Minnesota, but that is also the worst pass defense in the league, arguably, them in Dallas. And then he blew up against New Orleans in a game with no Devontae Adams. To me, it's just hard to predict the Packers between him, Jay Sternberger, MVS, and Robert Tonyan because they all do different things, and I don't know which one of them is going to get a touchdown. It's just hard to predict. That's the one thing.
Sure.
It's just hard. And even his touchdown he got last week, he got, 4 catches and 23 yards, so it's not like he's going for the deep ball either. He's taking short dink and dunk passes, so I don't know about big fantasy week, but, I mean, there are worse plays out there.
Yeah. Solid floor, eh?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it worries me because he two points 2 weeks ago, 10 points last week. It's a little bit worrying, but it could be. Could be good.
All right. Well, I'm going to hit the button. We're going to say goodbye.
Good luck.
Goodbye.
Go all out. It's week 13, so play fearlessly. If you're on the bubble, play fearlessly. Take your shot because it's 2 weeks to get in, and you probably know exactly what it takes for you to get in. So,
yep. And for those of you guys who this is the last game for the playoffs. Good luck. Hope you make it in. That's directed at me because I'm playing Judah this week.
That's right. It's going to be fun.
Yep.
All right. Well, I hit the button so the